Let's see how this ends up. uThermal spawns in the bottom right position. The map is Frost, picking his blue color once again.
Yep, and on the other side of the map, on the top left-hand side of the map, is the player that's fighting back after losing against Lambo in the first series. He just took out Fear-O-Matic from Germany. Give it up for the yellow Protoss player CPU. I mean, as much as we're all a little bit biased towards uThermal because we are Dutch, even you are Dutch,
Oh,
Patrick.
I'm not Dutch,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dutch. I'm a big fan of being Dutch.
We adopted you. That's all I gotta say about that. You're officially Dutch. But we gotta also give it up for CPU. You know, I mean, he's played an excellent series against FMTC just there, and he's already done pretty good in the Dutch StarCraft League. uThermal was the favorite for today in our minds, but Lambo beat both of these guys, so we're gonna have to see how they match up against each other.
Yeah. And uThermal, he's been struggling a little bit in TVPs.
Yeah, no,
I'd say his TVT and TVZ are way better in terms of how well he plays that matchups compared to TVP. But then again, TVP makes a lot of problems for most Protosses, most Terrans. Um, Whenever I talk with Terrans about their matchups, most of them, if not all of them, tell me, well, TVP is my worst. So that's not really that surprising, I wouldn't say.
nope, and I mean, uThermal has shown two series against Zerg, but we have not seen him play against Protoss yet today. So far, it looks pretty similar to the builds he's done against Zerg with just opening a Reaper, but that does not tell us anything. Both players are going to be scouting though. uThermal with the Reaper and his opponent with the probe comes in at a favorable time. Does see the reactor go down just before the probe dies.
Yep.
But that's a good indication of what's going on. I don't think he's going to adjust his build by just seeing that, but it's a good tell.
Yeah, it's pretty much a very standard opening. Just get your Reaper out for scouting and a little bit of harassment, and behind that get your reactor, so you will have enough Marines later on down the road, and get an expansion rolling. Now, uThermal is also getting a very quick engineering bay here. This is a little bit of an older build. It's been around for quite a while. You get two barracks pretty much, one with a reactor, one with a tech lab, a quick +1. It also, this engineering bay allows you to get quick turrets in case of oracles or DTs, which the Protosses have been fond of doing in the past. And, well, depending on if you go for 3 or 2 Raxes, it's it adjusts a little bit your medevac timing, so you can either go for a slightly quicker air harass or just a later one.
Yep, uThermal did have excellent Reaper control once again. That's why you see the TT,
Yeah.
the smiley coming down. The Reaper dodged that bullet with 2 health and escaped the free loss. There you go from uThermal. Twilight Council is coming down, so it's gonna be up to uThermal to scout that out. It is just in the main base though. After playing against Todd for 2 games, he might actually scan the natural.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. Now there are 2 things, of course, the Protoss can do off of this. He can either go for Blink. This map is pretty decent for Blink plays. It has been for a long while now. But I get a feeling that we might see a Dark Shrine coming down from CPU. Now, uThermal, he's already taken a second gas, so... Oh, there... Actually, I was just about to say that he'll probably go for a factory straight up, but no, there is the 3rd barracks, so he's just shooting for a really, really nice, big, beefy, high DPS army. And it is going to be Blink and double Forge. Wow, this is ballsy from CPU. This is very risky.
Yeah, it's gonna be a push with +1 from uThermal, because the +1 damage is almost completed. It's only 8 in-game seconds away from those Marines being a little bit more efficient. And against the build that CPU is executing right now, this could be very deadly because there's a 3rd Nexus underway and there's not that much to defend if he were to push
Exactly.
out with something. And it wouldn't put me beyond him, because he's going to check what's coming out. He's already preparing for some things, right? He's making a bunker in the main base, he's adding a bunker at the front, but once he realizes that CPU is not putting on any form of aggression, he's still going to have the +1. Combat shield's going to have finished up, and he's gonna have a lot of production going during that, and he could just attack at a very awkward timing for CPU.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Double Forge that eats a lot into your resources, into your gas. Taking a third base behind this so that you don't have to skip anything from your attack path or units and go straight into Colossus, for example, with this, that's even more dangerous to do as a Protoss player. And you are absolutely right. If an attack does not come in the next, let's say, 40 minutes, uThermal is going to become suspicious and he will start to move out aggressively across the map and try to find out what's going on. Once again, though, we are seeing the kind of the reluctance to use scans and do long distance scouting. uThermal is just, he thinks he identified exactly what his opponent is doing and he's just playing by the meta game, but he's not verifying his information. That's his one weakness as a player, I'd say.
I'm actually fearing uThermal's position more and more as the game progresses, because CPU is going to get that advantage back. And uThermal, in the back of this, I don't know if you noticed this, but he was actually holding a lot of SCVs close to bunkers to repair them for the longest time, which also cost him severely. And right now, the 1-1 is already finished for the Protoss player. It's going to be finished up for uThermal, but that really big advantage he has, it's going to disappear in the next 2 or 3 minutes. So he has to attack before that. He is moving out right now. This could be a good timing, but he has to hurry.
Yeah, the good thing for uThermal here is that he has a lot more marauders than what you usually have with a push like this, because he was expecting a Blink Stalker all-in or a Blink Stalker 2-base push or timing. So he made a lot more marauders than you usually do. This is going to help him out tremendously against the Colossi, which there will not be that many of. The first one is only just now in production. And CPU, he knows this is coming, so he should focus all his efforts on producing as many units as possible so that he can hold this off properly. Look at this army. That's a decent army, but I would like to see some Zealots in there as well.
I don't think it's going to work though. uThermal has never been rushing this attack. He has been waiting for Stim and waiting for medevacs. He could have killed his opponent without Stim, without medevacs, with the army, or at least taken out the third base, but right now it's going to be very difficult. There's going to be the Photon Overcharge, there's going to be the first Colossus. Alright, it doesn't have range, but it's still going to crush these units with the Photon Overcharge in the defensive position where CPU is at. So that just puts us at a position where uThermal is very much behind. I don't know if he's going for a build where he pulls the SCVs. I do know he's done that before. A lot of times.
He could do because well, it
looks like
it's tricky to decide, because this only ever works when there is no storm on the field. It works perfectly versus Colossus, but you need a lot of Vikings for that as well, which he is sorely lacking in.
During the WCS, while I was sitting there in my orange shirt cheering for the Netherlands, so cheering for uThermal, he did it with Ghosts, and he's making a Ghost Academy. That's what's prompting me right now to say that he might be putting the SCVs. He's going to add a few Ghosts,
he is going to do it. Of course, he is going to do it. He's not building a third base. He's cut all SCV production a long time ago. So
he's doing it. He's pulling the boys. Not right now, but he's going to. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now the question is how successful is this going to be? Charge is about halfway done. That's not really the scary part, although the sooner the Zealots make contact with the SCVs, the better for the rest of the army. The deciding factor here, however, will be the number of Vikings and the number of anti-air, I feel like, because this SCV pool, it works best if you can kill the Colossus quickly. And uThermal, he's trying to get a little bit of everything. He's getting Ghosts, he's getting Vikings, Marauders, Marines, plus to attack only on 2 bases, while CPU is mining off of 3. And he's on 8 gateways already. Interestingly, he still does not have range for Colossus. This is, I think he kind of forgot about it.
That could actually be the point where he loses the game, because the Marauders can go toe to toe with the Colossus right now. So that's going to be very awkward for him.
Here it is.
Yep, it is. It's the boys are coming off the line, as Apollo always points out. There are high Templars, but they're not going to be that useful except for Arconage. This is a pretty good position. I think it's not bad holding this position. Usually I like when the Protosses go for their natural, but this is actually a decent concave for him to defend, and some decent EMPs hit a very aggressive link forward from CPU, and he knows that this is all that's coming, and right now the supplies are telling that CPU is winning, but they're still pretty big of an army. The Photon Overcharge is doing a good job, and this army is getting shredded a little bit. The Colossus are under fire, but I think he's held. Yep, I think he's held.
Yeah, he's held. Another one warp in of units will finish this off. uThermal can try and continue on microing, but he will not be able to reinforce this. He still has 24 SCVs, but that's barely enough to keep reinforcing this push. And there are 2 Colossi, only 2 Vikings left. GG gets called by uThermal, and CPU takes the game by just, I would say, uThermal not scouting his opponent.